Hello, here we are. Business Finance Matters podcast, little filler. Those of you who listen to us on a regular basis will know that we don't have a huge amount of time to do one every week, but we do like to pop these little fillers in from time to time, if only to talk about a few things. And Trevor, we have got a few things to talk about.
I know we've got a big announcement.
We have. We have.
We've been blown over by a couple of things. You may recall we started getting some very prized heirlooms out there in the shape of porcelain. Not quite sure they're porcelain. But anyway, promotional mugs, dual promotion. We got the podcast logo on one side and the Guild of Business Finance Professionals on the other. They are being posted with pictures all over LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, I'm flattered because it's nice that people are getting these mugs, and number one, they're using them, and number two, they're sharing them, which is great. Great for us, great for, well, I say us, great for the podcast and, of course, the Guild. We want to get the word out there, and the mugs is just one vehicle that we're using to spread the word, and thanks to everyone that's done that.
Speaking of which, we have to mention one of our strongest and biggest followers, dear Robert, what acted as our agent. He took one across the pond, and one now resides with Randy Haig at LTI over in Omaha and Nebraska. And he is made up, and he's got a big picture on LinkedIn like a Cheshire cat. And he's actually invited us over to record over there.
I know. I've already got my suitcase packed, passport ready to go.
Excellent.
I think I'll get a visa, so that should be all right. But looking forward to getting out and doing a stateside podcast.
Hold on a minute. Trump's in town, mate. We might not get further than the Bristol Channel, but wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? And that sort of links us into my next bit, David. And look, we unashamedly ask for support, in all manner of ways with the podcast. Dave and I, as many of our regulars will know, we fund this. Okay, it's not costing tens of thousands, but it costs our time and it costs our effort and a little bit of the grey cells. But we've just pushed, there's a little support button, top right-hand corner on our website, and some people have been pressing it and supporting it.
Much appreciated. It will go towards all the costs of running this podcast, and they aren't high, but we feel appreciated. And the comments that keep coming in as well, Trevor.
Fabulous.
It just gives us
And I'll tell you what, I've got to say, our dear friend Neil Cameron, who we had on the last podcast, I don't know what he's been up to, but it's gone mental in Scotland. The amount of downloads I've seen all around Scotland, it made me feel quite,
When you say it's gone mental in Scotland,
yes.
Surely not following the rugby game that happened at the weekend.
The what?
Exactly. Now, can I just remind you and those that listen to this podcast that, Trevor, you predicted a 26-16 victory against us English.
Anyway,
and following our thumping of France, we are very much definitely in the ascendancy and definitely favourites to win. I'll still bet on Scotland winning because that's how I roll. But anyway, you said 26-16. I think Neil Cameron, our guest on the last show, said 26-20. I said victory to England 25-19.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I was speaking to our dear chairman the other day. We were shooting the breeze about all matters Guild.
Which chairman is this?
The chairman of the Guild of Business Business Finance Professionals was the Honourable Mr. Stephen Bassett. Do you know what he slipped in?
Steady.
He went, oh, I'm going to the Calcutta Cup.
You know who your real friends are in life.
Tell me about it.
But listen, Trevor, whilst we're on the topic of rugby, when we can talk about our next guest, which we are so pleased to have on for a number of reasons. Firstly, he's an ex-England rugby player, so that tickles me for all sorts of reasons. Secondly, he is a legend of the game.
Yes. A few more little clues and hints. He currently runs a successful business consultancy working with all shapes and sizes of business, which is of great interest to us and I'm sure to our listeners. A couple of little clues. He is England's all-time greatest ever try scorer.
There we go.
49 tries for England. I believe He also had one for the British Lions, for which he appeared a few times. Here's another clue. He and his brother.
Oh, here we go. Big clue.
Both played for England.
Yeah.
The first brothers to play for England since, I believe, about 1937, I think, was the last brother.
Blimey, we're doing research.
I'll tell you what, you ain't, when we've got him on, I've got something right to ask him. I'm going to take him back to a game at Twickenham against us Jocks. I'm going to tell him what happened, and I'm going to get him to explain himself.
All right.
But anyway.
Carry on with the clue.
Go on.
So, yep, he's an ex-England Red player, had a brother that he plays with, also had a mother that probably featured in quite a lot of the rugby games, in the stands, of course, not on the field.
She did. She had an absolutely charming way with her, and I remember it happening at the time, as I'm sure you did. The camera cut to her, and she was giggling away and laughing away, and unfortunately, it was probably because England were winning at the time, but there we go. So that was part of it.
So I'm sure there's a few youngsters scratching their heads there, because obviously he's retired from the game some time now, and has now got a career in business. So go on then. Shall we announce it?
Go on.
Mr. Rory Underwood.
MBEDL. We've got a number 8. We got some bloke that's played a bit of rugby in the past on the wing, and
you.
and I'll turn up as the sponge man. But there we go.
Good. Well, look, seriously, it's really, really good. Really looking forward to speaking to Rory. And like I said, yes, his rugby career is one thing, but certainly since retiring from rugby, his business background is one that we're very interested to listening to and
yes.
working out how in terms of what we're all about, Trevor, our business, finance, etc.
I agree, and I think the thing that I want to get into, and it sounds a bit weird, but I want to get into what he's doing at the moment, because he was in the RAF, as many older of our listeners will know, for a long, long time, and had a very successful career in the RAF. But he's obviously taken some of the things he's learned, whether it's instinct or whatever, and applied that to helping businesses from a strategic perspective deliver on their goals and their strategy. Now, I'm fascinated to know how he does that.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated that's going to be, for me, I don't know. We'll see what he's going to say, but I think that's going to be a mental thing, isn't it? It's going to be in the head. It's going to be something we've touched on before. Yeah,
and I've this is a podcast for a different time, but I could go on for hours about the transition from sport into business, especially rugby. I know quite a few ex-professional rugby players that have moved into business and are reasonably successful at it. And I'm sure Rory is certainly one of those individuals.
I agree. I mean, I think, look, we know everybody's not into rugby, not everybody's into sport, but, I'm sure he will be engaging. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm sure he's going to have a very sharp, focused take on how to make businesses run successfully. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, so we're going to get that out before the end of the Six Nations, and it'd be good to talk to him about rugby, business, and life. So looking forward to that. We've got a couple of other guests that have offered themselves to come onto the show, which is in the pot, which we'll talk about in the near future.
Okay, what else is happening, Dave, in the wide world of business and life in general?
Nothing really.
Really? Hey, I'm more concerned about the Calcutta Cup next week.
So you
mate.
should be.
That's where I'm at.
Should be.
Oh, I did tell you. Do you remember? Oh, we're nearly at the results stage. Remember I told you about my DNA test? We are nearly there.
Suspense is killing me. How long does it take?
They reckon it's going to be ready within the next 4 days.
This is a business finance matters podcast, or business finance driven podcast. We know we do these transactions of the month.
Oh, yeah.
So looking forward to getting one in for next month. But I must say, if I could just blow the trumpet of Rivers Leasing.
Oh.
They did help with a customer of ours, and I won't go into too much detail because those that work with Rivers and Rishi Shah there will know how good they are, and he and the team there, they work wonders with this particular customer, and a big thank you to them. And if anybody is looking to get any information about Rivers, if you've not used them already, then I'll be happy to help. So
Can I just ask you one question? Why or what did Rivers do for you? What was it?
It was one of those, it was fairly straightforward. I think the key part of this was that the customer had already purchased the asset, bar £10,000. Okay. So what they were trying to do is buy the asset out of cash flow. It was a trailer container, and the trailer container was a bit like when you build a house, was paid for in stage payments.
Oh, I get you.
So you get the original deposit goes down, and then all the bits and pieces get fitted inside the trailer, and you pay as it gets fitted. And they ran out of money, the time of the year, that seasonal sort of catering type of business, and they got themselves into a bit of a panic. There's a number of options, and the option that we decided to go with was simply to do a sale and lease back, for want of a better word. So give them the money that they already paid to the supplier, and they could get that extra 10,000 across to pay the final bill and take delivery and have a bit of cash flow, because, like I said, some businesses don't always recognise how valuable cash is. We always say cash is king, but
it is.
This particular business, and I support them. They haven't been going that long. They've tried to finance everything out of cash flow and putting their own money in. But this was a step too far, and they literally emptied the bank to the point where they literally had no money in the bank. So that sounds like an absolute belting result all round to me. So just repeat, Dave, name of the lender, please. Rivers Leasing.
And who's your person
Rishi
there?
Shah.
Let's go. Whoop, 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 whoop.
No.
It's a good news story.
If anyone that's out there in the guild can send through your transactions of the month, let us know what you did, why you did it, and the type of product you used, so we can put that into some kind of verbal explanation, because business owners are listening to this, and we'd like to make sure that they understand the product, understand how the products work.
Yeah.
The lenders are relevant to a certain point, but it's just getting to know how people like myself listen to what the businesses want, work out how we're going to go forward, and then present it and ultimately deliver it, which is the final part and most important part.
And just one final reminder, who are we going to be speaking to next?
Rory Underwood.
Bring it on.
Okay, we'll ring the bell. It's a little fill-up, and look forward to getting Rory on, which we'll get out. Hopefully we'll get that out before the big game between England and Scotland, and see what his views are on rugby and business.
It's been a joy, as always. Really looking forward to that. And take care, folks, and keep having those cheeky little drinks in those mugs during your team's calls.
Good, right. It's 4:45. I've got to get on with life as of you, so we'll leave it there, my friend. Catch up with you very soon. Take care.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, mate.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.